Alright guys, so today's video we're going to be checking out a product that's a little bit different for this channel. And the product we're going to check out is the Utopia Carbon e-bike. Now what makes this product stand out is obviously the tech or geek side of me loves anything that can plug in, has Bluetooth, has wireless features and things like that. So when I saw that there is a bicycle that has a lot of these features, I definitely wanted to check it out on the channel, and I definitely wanted to share this with you guys. Now I have had this model for a couple of months now actually, and I have an early prototype version. So there are some features that weren't quite ready by the time they shipped it to me. But this is an Indiegogo funded project that's already been fully funded. Now they do still have some of the early bird prices left, which puts it down at around $2,000 or maybe $2,100. But I will have links to all of that information in the description. Now throughout my testing over the past couple of months, I have really enjoyed using this bike, but I have noticed with this being a prototype, there are definitely some quirks. I did reach out to the company to address these issues with them, and they've assured me that all of the ones that are going to be released, a lot of these things have already been taken care of, that the final version is not going to have some of the quirks that I've had, but I am going to talk about them because it is something that I've experienced while testing the bike. But let's go ahead and talk about what it is and who it may be for. Now obviously $2,000 plus or whatever for a bike isn't going to be for everybody. I always thought bikes were around a couple $100s, and I was kind of oblivious that there was anything above that. But once I started doing some research on carbon bikes, I noticed that even the non-smart carbon bikes start at about $1,500 or $2,000 and just kind of go up from there. So this bike being all carbon, including even the belt itself, coming in at $2,000 and having those smart features, I think makes it a very enticing value for those that are looking for this type of bike. Now when the bike came in, I will go ahead and say that this is extremely easy to put together. It's basically the bike frame with already the back wheel assembled, and all you have to do is put the front wheel on. The all carbon build makes it so lightweight. I think it's around 30 pounds total. I mean, you can pick it up with one hand. I was able to put it in the back of my truck with no issue. So this is easily one of those, if you're somebody commuting back and forth to work, once you get to work, you can pick it up, take it in your office, and it's just so easy to carry around. Now what this bike is using that pretty much makes it simple for all different types of people to be able to ride it is it does have a 250 watt hub motor. Now it's a responsive torque sensor, and what that means is it's built where it's responding to what speed based off the resistance and all that you're putting on the pedal. Now there are 5 different modes. They basically have a pedal mode where you can just pedal it like it is. They have an eco mode which makes it a little bit easier to pedal, and then obviously a comfort mode that makes it much more easier to pedal, and then they have a sport mode, and then it goes all the way up to a turbo mode. And I'm going to say that the turbo mode is the one that I left it in the most. I mean, it's just basically where you're barely pedaling the bike and you can get it to go up to 20 miles per hour. Now that is what it's limited as of now, but I did find out that they are going to have a feature where you can unlock this and get it to go even faster. Now I don't know what speed it's going to be able to go up to, but being able to go 20 miles per hour and barely pedal the bike, it just makes it really easy to get where you're going pretty quick, and you're not going to just be give out or worn out because you're having a lot of resistance while pedaling. I mean, it just doesn't feel like you're pedaling at all. Now, as far as the type of battery life that you're going to get on this, it's rated to get up to 80 miles on a full charge. Now, that's going to be using it at like the lowest of the low mode. You will get probably around 25 to 30 miles if you're going to keep it in that turbo mode. So keep in mind your range is going to be somewhere between 30 to 80 miles on a full charge. Now, this starts with the first quirk that I've had with this bike. I noticed that when I charged the battery, I basically needed to use the bike then. If I took the battery out, if I left the battery on the bike but still left the bike turned off, the battery was just draining no matter what. So you basically had to leave it plugged into the wall until you were ready to use it, because otherwise the battery was just going to drain, and so when you went to use it, the battery would be dead. I mean, it's like if you charged it and you waited a day or two to ride it and then you went to go ride it, your battery was dead. So do keep that in mind. But again, this is one of those features that they're supposed to fix. Now, speaking of the battery that's in here is removable. So once you get where you're going, you can simply just take it out. You can plug it into the wall just by itself, or you can plug it into the bike while the battery's in there to be able to charge it. So it's nice and convenient. So if you ride to a restaurant or a coffee house or something like that, you can leave your bike outside, but you can take your battery in and charge it so that when you're ready to go, it's good to go. You just hop on your bike and you go that way. Now it does come with a set of keys. Now the keys are not necessary to be able to get the bike going. What the keys does is basically unlock it where you can take the battery on and off the bike. Now, as far as some of the technology and the electronics that are in this bike, and this is the part that caught my attention, is the handlebar is actually called a smart bar. It has this little display, and what that is displaying is your speed. It's telling you what mode you're in. It'll also show you if you turn your left or right blinker on, which is kind of nice. It even makes like the clicking sound as if you were in a car and turned your blinker on. And it also pops up and shows you basically the smart assistant or voice control feature that you have. And with this being a prototype, the only thing that I could actually test is being able to tell it to turn the light that's on the front of the bike on. Turn the light on.
Light on.
Turn the light off.
Light off.
But again, there's supposed to be some other features. The display is also supposed to let you know when you have notifications on your phone. It also is supposed to show you when you're supposed to turn when you set up your GPS as well, because this bike does connect with an app. And the app is another thing that was basically not ready for prime time yet. I was able to get into like a testing mode of it, but there was very limited features that work. But I was assured that when this bike is released in March, it's supposed to have all of these features working. And some of the features is you're able to locate where your bike is, basically by using GPS, because the bike does have GPS, it has Wi-Fi, it even has like an eSIM card in it. That way it can get updates and everything that way. But the app also tracks where you've ridden. It kind of keeps up with the distance that you've gone. So if you're somebody that likes to keep up with how many miles you're riding and the time that it takes, the app will just take care of all of that for you. And another thing that the app does, and this is something that I was actually able to do, is the app allowed me to scan my fingerprint to be able to unlock the bike. That way anybody couldn't just come up and use the bike, because if somebody comes up and moves it from where it's at, it will sense that it's doing that and an alarm will go off, which basically is keeping somebody from taking it. It's nice to have these security type features, because if you're somebody that rides a bike, you know there's a lot of situations where you have to leave your bike or walk away from it. And this is more so peace of mind. And another thing that the app does do is if somebody does move it, it will send you a notification that the alarm has been set off so that you know somebody is messing with your bike. Now, another feature that I was really intrigued about, and this is something that I wasn't able to test because the bike wasn't ready for this feature, and I think this is also an accessory that you have to add on, but you can buy this wave radar that goes on the back of your bike so that if a car is coming up behind you or you get near traffic or anything like that, it will send a vibration to let you know somebody's coming up behind you. So this allows you to kind of get over quickly and not get your ass ran over. Now, the tires that are on these are smaller tires, so it's not really meant for off-road, but I did find just going through little trails and things like that, it was able to handle with no problem. But if you're going to be riding on anything rougher than that, this necessarily would not be the bike for that. I think, again, this is more for commuting or more for somebody that's riding on, you know, normal type of tracks, pavement, just different roads and subdivisions and things like that. And it's a fun bike to ride. So my overall opinion is this type of technology is exciting to have in a bike. I mean, I'm excited to see all of the features working once the app is fully working. It's interesting technology that I do think is priced about where somebody would be looking if they're looking at a carbon bike or maybe an e-bike in general. So I can see this being successful. I mean, obviously it already is because the project is already fully funded and then some. They're just extending it out for a little bit longer for people to be able to grab it at around that $2,000 price tag. But guys, that wraps up my video on the Utopia carbon e-bike. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.